Hello and welcome to our webinar on what the right MBA can do for female executives. My name is Anna Patterson and I'm happy to be walking you through this webinar. Today I have two experts here next to me and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves. So let's start over here.
Hi, my name is Lilly Sommer. I finished the professional MBA in Entrepreneurship and Innovation in 2017. And I now work for business for Philips in sleep and respiratory care as a strategic business architect.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you very much, first of all, Lilly, for joining us. Let me introduce myself. My name is Barbara Stöttinger, and I'm Dean of the VIU Executive Academy and also Academic Director for a couple of our programs. And I'm very happy to welcome you here to our short presentation and Q&A session afterwards.
Exactly. And as Professor Stöttinger said, if there will be a short presentation, we have gathered some of the benefits that women often have experienced when doing one of our MBA programs. And we wanted to share this with you on a few slides. And keep in mind, if you have any questions that come up, you can definitely share them with us in this chat box that you might see on the bottom right-hand part of your screen, or if you're using a mobile phone, you'll have to switch to a different view. Send us your questions. Afterwards, I'm going to be coming back with Lilly Sommer, and Lilly is going to be sharing also her experience in the MBA program, and we're going to be asking your questions to both of these excellent women here today. So without further ado, I'd say let's get started. All right.
Yeah, thank you very much. I see you both a little bit later, and I will take a few minutes, and Anna mentioned short. I try to be short on talking about what an MBA can do for female leaders. So the first question you might ask yourself, what is the difference from male and for female leaders? I think many of the benefits an MBA has really apply to unrelated to gender issues. But I think we as women usually have some additional questions, and I try to get into those as we go along. When we look at the benefit of an MBA, I think the most important one to start off with is, of course, the content side and the exchange. This is what we mean, for example, by the business expertise that you gather, yeah, and that you bring to the table. This is also meant by exchanging best practices with like-minded peers, with a change of perspective. So what the MBA gives you is not only the content where you have the opportunity to deepen your insights in fields where you're an expert already, but also explore new topics. But it's at the same time sharing your expertise and gaining from the expertise of everybody else sitting in the MBA class. At this level, I think this is equally, if not more important than learning from the faculty in front of you. And actually, the faculty acts more as a moderator than a frontal lecture type of setting. Flexibility, let me add that aspect to the content as well, content and exchange, because the way how we set up our programs, they are really flexible in a sense that you know upfront when to be on campus with the schedule that we provide you with, but outside of the classroom, you're really free in deciding when you do your work, weekends, evenings, and schedule that. And this is where probably the additional aspects come into place. How do you manage along the lines of your private life and your business life? Yeah, so the program is set up in a way to make sure that you can balance the different responsibilities that you have and still be able to do a great job in the MBA program. I think the second important part, apart from the content, that's the most apparent benefit of an MBA, is the career aspects. Yeah, what we have seen over time, and that's particularly also an aspect that I would like to highlight in the context of female leaders, that the MBA is a time of transformation, a time of change. Yeah, not only in terms of your knowledge level, but also in terms of where do you want to go with your career. What would be your next steps in your career? Yeah, so it's a time of reflection of where could be the next potential job, the next company waiting for you, the next idea that you want to get across in terms of career. So what do we offer here, or what is specifically probably interesting for women? Of course, we have career services, so to speak. That's what we mean by strategic career development. So along the process of doing your MBA, we have all sorts of activities which are career related. They are from very technical things like how to present your LinkedIn profile in a good way to be found by executive search partners, how to set up your CV that you really get the attention of those people in HR or in executive search who are hiring for positions. Yeah, so that's very technical, but still hugely important. But we also provide input along the lines of what could be potential next steps? What is it that you want to do in your next step? Yeah. Where do you want to spend your next 5, 10, 15 years? What kind of ideas, what kind of formats, what kind of companies would be appealing to you? Yeah. So you get a lot of opportunity to think about these things and work on your next career step, so to speak. Two aspects that I found over the many years that I had the pleasure to accompany MBA students on their journey that I found particularly helpful and relevant for female leaders is the issue of competitive credibility, but also confidence. Yeah, we have outstanding women in our program. For them, what I hear when talking to them, what the MBA gives them is like a pedigree on their CV. Yeah, so the MBA is the sign to the outside world about that the formal qualification for all the qualifications that they bring to the table, all the competencies that they bring to the table. And it gives them not only the outside visibility, but also the confidence in what they are good at, what they can bring to the table to any new employer. And while we have made good progress, we know that women very often, and we hear that from our female HR partners, can use this as a boost of their confidence. Yeah. When we talk to executive search firms, when we talk to our HR partners, very often we hear, women would only apply to a job if they fit 120% to the job description, while our male colleagues are a little bit more confident than we are sometimes. Yeah. So I think the MBA, think of it from that perspective, sends an outside signal. You're able to manage not only your professional environment, but your private life, your work-life balance, and an MBA at the same time. I think that's a great signal to the marketplace and to the next company you want to work with. The third part, and I think this also relates to the career aspect, is the network. Yeah, we know when we look at statistics, where do new job opportunities come up, that the network is a very important part of it. And I think this is something women can still do a much better job. Yeah, can still leverage their networks much better. So therefore, the MBA definitely is a time where you grow your professional network. You grow it in a way that that is more diverse than you will ever be able to do that within your career. Yeah, if you think about who is sitting in the classroom, then you will be sitting together in the classroom with students from different industries, different countries, different functions, who are not necessarily related to the industry you are working in. So you're building yourself a really strong and deep network outside of your current professional environment. And the important part about that is this network is going to be your professional network for the next 5, 10, 20 years. Yeah, those people who've been with you through the MBA experience are basically the ones that you can call at any time of the day or night and ask for advice. Yeah, and you will always get a friendly and helpful answer. I'm pretty sure about that. Yeah, and I think networking is important, and I think it's important to also broaden your network, and that's a very good opportunity to do that. I have brought with me today a couple of quotes or statements from our alumni, from our female students and alumni, to share with you the way how they would express those benefits in their own words, and how that resonates probably also with what I have said. Let me share one quote by Martina Ernst. She's a long-standing professional in the HR domain, has been working at Erste Bank as head of HR Basically, she talks a lot about, and I let the quote for you to read. She talks a lot about this be unafraid, yeah, be more courageous, go out. And I think that again resonates with the point where I said it's about self-confidence, yeah. It gives you this extra boost for your self-confidence to take the next step in your career, yeah. Another quote that I wanted to share with you is again along the lines of confidence and also taking a step out of the beaten track in terms of career and start your own business. Yeah, so this is also something that we support with our career services, where you can familiarize yourself with what is it that you want to do next. We have experts coming in, asking you those questions, working with you on those questions. And at the end of the day, it might be really that you decide that you want to found your own company. Yeah. And I think the MBA can be this additional extra in terms of knowledge, but also confidence to make this big step definitely out of the comfort zone. Yeah, and last but not least, talking about this again credibility issue, I wanted to share one quote of an alumna who decided to stay on her career track, but continuing with the company that she was working in. And basically, there it's around. What can the MBA do to promote and to make your package that you bring to the table even more compelling and comprehensive? And I think Alexandra has mentioned that and outlined that in a very concise way. And I think many of those statements, it's not only pertaining to the three ladies I just introduced to you, but to many of them that have been through our MBA programs over the years. That gives me another hint I wanted to give you. If you're interested in seeing what female leaders think about their MBA experience, then please check out our website. We do have a career corner. We have profiles of successful male and female alumni. So check out the program that you're interested in. Look for the female alumni. Look into what they have to say, and I think that will give you an even more comprehensive picture and support the arguments that I just presented to you. One aspect that is, of course, very important, and I would not necessarily say that this is gender related or specifically female, is when we talk about the return on investment. And I just wanted to let you know, and I think some of the topics also resonate with what I have said before. What does the MBA give you? Yeah, we know, and we pulled up a couple of figures that might be of interest for you. For example, if we look at career change, 80% of our alumni change their job. Either they are promoted from within the company to more responsibility, or they're changing into a more responsible role in a different company. About 40% share this notion also in terms of your personal development. As we said, we are supporting that. Yeah, so we also see that not only a job change is happening, but also to more leadership responsibility along the lines. That usually comes with more money. So when we talk about financial return on investment, that's something important to consider. And the last point that we very often hear from our alumni in the surveys is basically the self-fulfillment. And I think that relates to the aspects that I mentioned before, the confidence, giving your CV a rounded picture with an MBA degree as a formal sign of accomplishment. You simply stick out in the environment of other candidates. And what you send as a signal is that you really can manage a very tough on top commitment to your professional and also private environment. We strongly believe and we truly want to support female leaders, and one way to do that is also through scholarships. So if you think about doing an MBA, don't only consider the aspects that we've just mentioned. When budgets are tight, we do have special programs to support female leaders, usually around 25 to 35% of the tuition, depending on the type of program. For the Global Executive MBA, which is the next program that we're going to start, is, for example, a deadline for scholarship application is December 15. Yeah, so do consider that if you see that it might be challenging to finance, then this is definitely one good way to support your budget. Yeah, and we specifically do that to increase the diversity, and I strongly believe that we need female leaders. We need more female leaders, and if we can do something about it from our side, then we're very happy to support that development. Yeah, one aspect or one question that we usually get beyond finance is the compatibility. How will I manage my career? How will I manage whatever's going on in my private life, be it children, whatever? How does that work out? Yeah. I brought you an example of a successful Global MBA alumna, and Olena kind of puts it very nicely together in terms of the time commitments. Yeah, so at the time that she was doing her MBA program, she was actually working on a consulting job in Vietnam, commuting back and forth. Yeah, and so also that is doable. She reduced her workload or time at work a little bit, but still, if you think the extra travel on top of it, I think it was tough. Yeah, that's what she says. But she also gives you an idea of how many hours per week you would have to think about. Yeah, so she mentioned 15 to 20 hours per week that you put in. And that's something that we hear very often from students to be a fair amount. Of course, it depends on from module to module. Sometimes it might be a little bit less because we're working on your area of expertise. Sometimes it might be a little bit more because it's a topic that you're not so familiar with or that you want to get really engaged with. But this is kind of a fair average number. Yeah, probably as a side remark, what we also hear from our alumni and students quite often that you become very efficient and effective in your time management. So just see that as an extra benefit. And another issue that I wanted to bring up, we have a really close to 100% completion rate of the program. So the programs are set up in a way, the faculty is briefed in a way that you can really do it next to a demanding job. Yeah, it's not a piece of cake, don't get me wrong here, but it's doable, and the high completion rates really support this aspect. Yeah, talking about compatibility to give you an idea of how the program or the program is set up. We work in a modular structure. You see the way how the modules are set up. You would be typically work on homework upfront, what we call pre-module assignment, and that really gets you ready to be able to discuss the topic in the classroom setting. Yeah, so that everybody is coming to a similar level, whether you're an expert already in the field, whether you are new or the topic is quite new to you, to make sure that everybody is well versed and prepared to discuss in the classroom. You come to class depending on the specific module for 4 or 6 days, typically from Thursday to Sunday, where you work with your classmates and with the faculty in the classroom setting. And after that, in order to transfer the knowledge into your professional environment immediately, we have the post-module assignments. Many of the pre-module and post-module assignments are basically group work. Yeah, so that also sometimes mitigates the workload. If you are super busy, then you can share part of your workload probably this time with your colleagues. Next time you do more. Yeah, so that's another way of trying to manage peak times in your outside of the MBA commitments. Yeah, one aspect that I also wanted to highlight, what we see every now and then in our female students and alumni, that the MBA is a good way to get them back on track after maternity leave, for example. And Katrin Markowski puts that together very nicely. So she had a very distinguished career in marketing already before she then had her 2 daughters. Yeah. And in order to get her up to speed, to equip her with the latest knowledge, but also to show as a sign of commitment to potential employers, she decided to do the MBA. Yeah, and she's now working for Eaton Industries in a marketing role, in an international marketing role. And I think for her, as you can see, it has panned out quite nicely. Yeah, in terms of who would be sitting next to you in class, we talked about the networking aspects. We talked about the network later on for your professional environment. You basically have here a setup of our alumni group. Yeah, we have around 4,500 alumni on a global scale. We have our own LinkedIn group where you can reach out. We have our own proprietary network that you, and all of those things you can already use as a student. So you don't have to wait until you're an alumna. You can really reach out, and I think it's particularly helpful if you're looking for a new job opportunity to say, I want to work in this industry, I want to work in this country, I want to work in this company, to reach out to alumni through the network and share your ideas up front. Yeah, so they can tell you firsthand how it is to work for that company. They can open doors to the right people in the company. So as we know, network is important to get the next new job. This is a really good opportunity to take advantage of it. We also not only operate in Vienna, we know that as 70% of our students are international, we have around 6 hub managers, and hubs are our major alumni bases spread throughout Europe. And there we also do activities on site. You have connection points there, but we also have 140 ambassadors you can reach out. These are typically past class presidents, people who are really engaged, who want to spread the word, and they will also be accessible to talk about our MBA programs, talk to you about it, and try to find out whether the MBA can boost your career in the way that you want it to. We do also work with career partners. You see that at the moment we have about 15. I think probably we have also more details on that later on in the presentation. If not, we can come up with that. We do invite them on campus to, again, talk about career, making sure you're ready so that you're found by executive search partners if they are looking for somebody. They talk about how executive search works in today's time. I think very different from 5 or 10 years ago. And I think there's a lot to take away and to prepare yourself for the next step. Yeah, one thing that I'm very proud of and that I also would like to share with you is our Female Leaders Network. Yeah, so it is a community of female students and alumni within the VIU Executive Academy. We have about 1,500 of them worldwide, and we use this network as a way to communicate and interact among women. Yeah, so I said in the beginning, we have a lot of things in common with our male colleagues, but there might be one or the other topic that's specific to our environment and to our role in companies or institutions. So this is a network where you can exchange in a very secure and private environment your concerns, your ideas, your questions. And we also have all sorts of activities, career related with a female focus, social related to build your female network. But we are also opening ourselves, and I think this is very important, to our male colleagues, yeah, because they are the ones we want to network with also in our corporate environment to make sure that we get seen and heard. So this is a great way to get connected with a group of like-minded students and alumni, and we've seen great support within the network. So definitely something that I wanted to share with you at this point as well. Yeah, to give you an idea of who's sitting in the classroom, here you find a quick overview of the student profiles. So you see that also our students in the different types of programs are already quite advanced, going beyond the former criteria, definitely. So I think, for the next part and next step in your career, definitely a very important network and very valuable network to deal with. Yeah, international networking, of course. If you've looked at our programs, that international is very important for us. It's part of our DNA. So we take you to different parts of the world. Again, that's an opportunity to get you engaged into the local ecosystems. You can get connected to companies there. You can get connected to the business environments. So whatever you want to wear, however or wherever you want to drive your career, there are multiple opportunities to also go international. And if you are a student and alumni of the Global MBA program, as it is a double degree, you also have access to the alumni network of the Carlson School of Management. So that gives you an additional network of alumni that you can tap into. Yeah, another statement in terms of career development that I wanted to share with you, and I think Natalia is a great example for how the MBA can really promote your career. She did her professional MBA in finance, working in Russia in the CIS market, and then briefly after that got a leadership position in Scandinavia for Sephora, so staying with LVMH in the same conglomerate, but really stepping up into a leadership position and at a different geographical role. Yeah, so I think it's a great sign to the outside environment. You are willing to take your career into your hands by doing an MBA, by completing it. That really is an exceptional task, and I think that also is makes you more visible in the professional environment. Yeah, I talked about the Career Accelerator program. I don't want to say too much because I realize I've taken a lot of time already, and we want to have Anna and Lilly coming up to answer your questions, which hopefully come in. If you want to know more about how we support careers specifically, I talked about the technical activities in terms of LinkedIn seminars, how to prepare your CV, pitch training, whatever, but also the question of finding your next career step. Then I'm very happy to answer any questions related to that afterwards. Yeah, just a few facts to complement on what I've said. Our executive search partners, they are really leading in their field. They come to campus to share their insights of how it is to take the next step on an executive level. What does it need? How do you prepare? And they're also your counterparts and sparring partners when it's about career development. Yeah, in a nutshell, I think what the MBA can give you is a lot of flexibility to match it with your busy lives apart from the MBA life. I think it also supports you in developing your leadership skills. You have lots of opportunities, not only in the classroom through specific leadership modules, but also in discussing with your peers, the group work, how they see you and your leadership capabilities, and you get really great feedback in a secure and friendly environment. It all helps to make work, life, and study possible. I think it gives you a great professional network, and last but not least, and that's the starting point, but only one of the cornerstones of an MBA experience, the business knowledge. Yeah, with that, if you have any questions, then this is where you find us. Elke Lerch is a person to contact. If you have any questions, whatever it is, she will be here to support you. And now I'm looking forward to Anna and Lilly and your questions.
Yes, great. And we do have a few questions already in, and we're going to actually first kick off, though, after hearing this presentation, Lilly, and you heard a lot about the different benefits that we've gathered. Did any of these benefits resonate with you?
Yeah, I mean, they all resonate with me. But I think what I found most important was really, on the one hand, the network you build, because as Professor Stöttinger said, it really lasts. So even now, several years later, you still have those contacts, and whenever you have a question about, for example, a topic at work that you want to get another viewpoint on, or you're applying for another job and you want to maybe find out a bit more about that company and the culture there, you have people to call and to speak to. And if they don't know themselves, they usually are very happy to sort of reach out to their contacts and get back to you on that.
Yeah, the classroom network seems to be particularly strong because there's a large group with a lot of experience. Andrea was actually asking how many years of experience does a typical MBA candidate have when they start the program?
If I take that question, so if we look at the professional MBA, it's on average around 7 to 10 years. If you look at the executive MBA, it would be somewhere around 15 years.
Okay, so 7 to 10 years. And when
But if you one good way to find out more details on the respective programs, you always find a class profile on the website, and that gives you an indication of the seniority of the participants in your program of choice.
True, definitely. And Lily, can you remember when you were first looking for an MBA program?
Yeah, actually I can. It was
Okay.
over Christmas, 2014, and then in 2015 I started, and I was at the point in my career where I felt in that position I had gone as far as I could go, and within that company also there wasn't too much more room to grow. And I come also from a science background, so
True.
completely different to the business world, and I felt that I really needed to extend my know-how and gain that business expertise to really be able to take the next step. And yeah, I can say for me it worked out that way.
Now, Lily, you're a little bit too humble. You hold a PhD in medical sciences, so we should mention that at this point.
Yeah.
True. And you were looking for a certain business expertise? Were you looking to develop maybe your leadership skills, or was it particularly because you did the innovation, entrepreneurship and innovation specialization? Were you wanting to go in that direction, or were you more, let's see what will come kind of?
Well, I think for me it was a bit of both. It was like the broader expertise and really broadening my horizon, and I think really learning about topics like managing organizations and people, leadership. Or I had never heard of finance before, for example. It's not a topic that I had much to do with before. It really broadened my horizon, and then it really also allows you to broaden how you think. You think a bit bolder, a bit wider, and you look at topics or problems from more diverse angles than you do before. And then the entrepreneurship and innovation, I think, I mean, at that point, I was always sort of between the marketing specialization and entrepreneurship and innovation. And then thinking about the science, I felt that it's a very innovative field in itself. So it was just that this triggered my interest a little bit more.
Can I just briefly add something? I think Lily's pathway in terms of coming not from business or business background in terms of your first studies is one that we see quite often. But it does not mean if you have a business degree as your first degree, an MBA would not be a good option. Yeah, we know that about 30% of our students have a business degree as their first degree. But just put yourself in the shoes of when you did your first degree, what did you know about the world? Yeah, when you learned about finance and marketing the first time, that's very different with about 10 years experience, and coming back with all this experience, I think gives you another, positive aspect when you hear those topics the second time around.
Definitely, because repetition would help.
But also, I think it's the discussions you have with your peers. Like what I liked really also how we were taught is that you have the lecturer, but then also a lot of it is in peer group work. And that really helps also you work with people from different industries, with different roles, with different levels of seniority, and everyone brings in a different viewpoint. And that is really, sometimes I sat there and I'm like, oh, wow, I did not think of that. Wow, man, that's so smart. And that really, and that's also how the what you learn, for me at least, how it really helps to make it last and how you internalize it.
So this was sort of the transformation going on during your MBA. And a lot of people ask about the manageability factor of this. And we were talking earlier, you mentioned that the program was pretty flexible, that you were looking for this. In what ways was the program really flexible for you? What does that mean?
For me, it was important. So I looked at different programs before I decided to go with the WU Executive Academy. And for me, there were programs where you had to go like 3-4 times a week, every week. And for me, that was not a nice value proposition, basically, to say like for 2 years, all my weekends are gone. So what I liked here was that I knew the dates before. It was usually like one longer module a month. You can plan for that. And what I liked is that you're taking ownership yourself. You are managing the time that you spend on the pre and post modules, and you can organize it so that it fits your professional and private life. And that is what really was very important for me, and what was with the VU program, one of the few ones that really offers this flexibility.
Mm-hmm. And now that you've graduated and it's been a little bit after a while, do you think that the MBA has at least the visibility added to your CV, added some impact in your career advancement in any way?
Definitely. For me, it's clear. I mean, it's I have the PhD and now I have an MBA. It's very visible, and I think it just gives that credibility to show also to the outside world. I have both. I have the science background, plus I have also the business know-how, but also what Professor Stöttinger talked about before, that confidence. You sort of, I think I don't know if it's a female thing, but it is a little bit when it's written somewhere and you have a certificate, it really also makes you go to an interview or speak up differently and come with different confidence to the table and say like, yeah, I can do that. And also for me, it really helped me to apply for roles that I before might not have considered.
Sure.
I think you're not questioned anymore. Yeah, it's just you have it black on white that you have done this, and therefore everybody knows. Yeah?
Well, and also I think, as was mentioned before as well, it shows you are willing to take the effort to progress in your career. You're willing to learn. You're going the extra mile.
And doing it part-time.
Exactly. Yeah, you're doing it while you work full-time, and that really also shows the commitment that you bring to the table.
And were you talking with other female colleagues exactly maybe on this topic? Did you see that they also have gained a similar sort of confidence boost? I mean,
yeah, I mean, as I said, the network, it really stays also longer term. So you do follow each other's career and the next steps you take. And I can certainly say that I saw also a lot of the other women really making great progress in their career and gaining confidence along the way.
Confidence does seem to be a crucial role when you're looking for the next career step. But another benefit or helpful factor seems also to be the extra career services that might come along with an MBA program or another education program. And at the Executive Academy, we have a few of these career services. Have you used any of them?
Yes, actually, we went to the CV check, and I also did the LinkedIn or linked out seminar. And it's really interesting also then to have the chance to speak to HR executives and gain that feedback, and they look at your CV and how they interpret what you've written there, what maybe got in difference to what you thought. How it would be interpreted. And also it's interesting we did that, the CV check was during the MBA, so a lot of the classmates were around, and so you were also amongst each other, again, looking at your CVs, what have you done before? It was interesting and gathering feedback in that way. So it was a little bit like a 360 feedback, and you really also see how others perceive you and what they see in your CV, and that was very eye-opening and very interesting.
It sounds like you had sparring partners.
I think you're mentioning a very important point here, yeah, because the network that you have, these peers are your friendly reviewers, kind of, yeah, in terms of your skills, of what you bring to the table, but also your CV, and you can look at different types of careers and how people went about their career and get some inspiration. I think this is still something that people do not really consider before they go into the program, but then experience obviously as they are going through the program.
Yeah, I mean, also very recently I spoke I actually went for a weekend trip with two of the MBA colleagues, and one had just been sort of called from a company with a job offer, and then we discussed like, okay, what are the pros and the cons? Is that a smart step for her, etc. So yeah, again, you keep on, you build lasting relationships, and then you have those conversations and you get feedback that you might not be able to get from your colleagues or friends who are following different career paths.
So it sounds like the MBA cohort that you were in was a group of pretty high-powered individuals. Is it a daunting task, Ms. Stöttinger, to select these individuals?
No, first of all, it's a fun task, yeah, and I think it's one of the biggest challenges that we have, because we strongly believe in diversity, and that's not only in terms of international diversity, different cultures and so on, but also in terms of different profiles, yeah, because as Lilly mentioned, you bring so many different backgrounds into one room, so the teaching does not only happen by the faculty, but it's peer teaching at the same time. You benefit from each other's experience. So therefore, it is important to have different personalities in the classroom.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So,
and that also, if I may add to that, it really helps you to, also it teaches you soft skills in a way, because you are put in those peer groups, and then, not everyone is maybe your most favorite person to work with, and then, some people are more committed than others. That's just how it is in the group work, and you have to manage that. And you also have people with different seniority levels, as I mentioned, also coming from different countries. So sometimes there may be some language barriers a little bit as well, and then cultural differences. So these are similar challenges that you will face in the workplace. So it really gives you also a nice playground to build on your soft skills and learn how you can handle and overcome and work successfully as a team.
And I think, you may comment on that, whether you see it the same way. I think it is a very safe environment. You're colleagues and you're not competitors. Yeah, and I think that's very different from a company setting where you never know of the person that you're asking might be the one who's actually looking for your job or the job you're going for. Yeah, so I think I would assume that's also a different setting in that context.
Yeah, I think that's why I called it the playground, because it gives you that sort of safety network, and also that you can have a very open and sometimes even confronting discussion, but because everyone is wanting to finish that assignment and everyone is working towards the same goal in the end, you sort of, you have to come together and make it happen. You really learn how to work in a diverse team as well.
True. And well, with that note of making it happen, if you had maybe one piece of advice for women out there who are trying to make that special movement happen in their careers, what would it be?
Just go for it, basically. I mean, it's really it's up to you to make it happen. Take ownership of your career, and the VU can really be an enabling asset to do that. The MBA degree really will allow you to do that. At least for me, it did. So.
It did. Professor Stöttinger, would you like to follow up on that?
I think there's nothing more to add to that. Yeah, just go for it. And I think if you want to, if you need more support on your decision making, reach out to us. We can connect you to alumni like Lilly and alumni from other programs. You can talk to our program managers. You can sit in one of the MBA modules. So there's plenty of opportunities to make your decision. And we're very happy to support you along the way. And I'm very happy to see many of you in one of our programs soon.
Definitely. I see we have a question coming in from Elena, so I'm going to give her a moment to finish sending that question in. We're here, of course, for you this afternoon. Is there group assignments? Lilly, would you like to comment on this?
Yes, there's lots of group assignments, both in the pre-module and in the post-module. It's a nice mix of individual assignments and group assignments.
And you were connecting probably on Skype or a lot through telephone, or
I mean, at some point we were lucky. We were a group of people who were all based in Vienna. So then we also had a few sessions actually here in the facilities of Executive Academy face to face. But usually it was via Skype or some other connector.
Okay, great. Elena, I'd invite you to get in touch with us as well if you have further questions. That was a great one. So, all right. Well, thank you very much as well to our IT support, Mr. Stefan Singer in the background. And thank you from my side. It was great to have you all here and to have your questions. We wish you a nice rest of your day and a great weekend.
And thank you very much for Lilly for joining us. Thank you very much for being here out there, and a warm welcome to you, Oksana.
Take care.